Shalawam, Shalawam, Shabbat, Shalawam, Yasharahla. All praises be unto thee, O Yahweh Hashem, Mashiach Yahweh. Today, Yasharahla, let's go through some scriptures in regarding the Sabbath, or Shabbat, the seventh day, the day of rest. Let's go and have a little bit of a more in-depth look at it, because it's very important. A lot of people, I feel, overlook this, but it is very important, the Shabbat, the Sabbath, the seventh day. So let's go into it a little bit. We'll start off with the Exodus. It may seem a little bit repetitive, some of these scriptures, but again, it's best to repeat these things sometimes, So we know that we're not leaning onto our own understanding, and we are literally going by what the scriptures are saying wholeheartedly. So we want Exodus chapter 20 and 8, and I'll read through to 11. So again, the Shabbat. We are going in depth on the Shabbat, the Sabbath day. So, Exodus chapter 20 and 8. Verse 8 reads, "Remember the Sabbath day, to keep it holy. 6 days shalt thou labor and do all thy work. But the seventh day is the Sabbath of the Lord thy God. In it thou shalt not do any work, thou, nor thy son, nor thy daughter, thy manservant, nor thy maidservant, nor thy cattle, nor thy stranger that is within thy gates." Verse 11. "For in 6 days the Lord made heaven and earth, the sea, and all that in them is, and rested seventh day. Wherefore the Lord blessed the Shabbat day and hallowed it," meaning made the day holy. So it is very important to acknowledge the Sabbath day. So we'll go down to chapter 16 in Exodus. We'll stay in Exodus for a few chapters, a few verses. So from chapter 16 and verse 23. Exodus chapter 16 and verse 23. "And he said unto them, This is that which the Lord hath said, Tomorrow is the rest, the holy Sabbath unto the Lord. Bake that which ye will bake today, and see thee that ye will see thee, and that which remaineth over lay upon for you, to be kept until morning." So this is going into the very first chapter that we read, was giving us examples of things that we are not supposed to be doing on the Sabbath day. One of them were cooking, making fire, that sort of thing. On here, it's giving you advice to prep. We say prep, but we know it's preparation, right? It's just giving advice to prep. So whatever you know that you would need throughout the day, you prepare it before the Shabbat day, so that when you are now on the Shabbat, you have everything that you require, and then not have to break or transgress the law of the Most High in regards to not doing these things, because you've already pre-done them, So that's the way it should go. So that's very, very important. The preparation. We need to prep. You have to prep for the Sabbath continually. I will read over those verses again and then go on through to verse 24 to clear it off. So Exodus chapter 16 verse 23, "And he said unto them, This is that which is the Lord hath said, Tomorrow is the rest of the holy Sabbath unto the Lord. Bake that which ye bake today, and see thee that ye will see thee, and that which remaineth overlay up on to kept unto the morning." Right? Now verse 24. "And they laid it up till morning as Moses bade, and it did not stink, neither were there any worms therein." So don't expect because you just prepare your food overnight, it's no good the next day. Come on now, we know better than that, Israel. We know better than that. So we go up now to chapter 31, still in Exodus, but we want chapter 31 and verse 13. 31 and 13. Speak thou also unto the children of Israel, saying, Verily, my Sabbath ye shall keep, for it is a sign between me and you throughout your generations, that ye may know that I am the Lord that doth sanctify you. You see? I'll read that again. Very beautiful, very in-depth. Speak thou also unto the children of Israel, saying, Verily, which means surely. Verily, Old English is basically saying surely. So surely my Sabbath ye shall keep, for it is a sign between me and you throughout your generations. And we are here still generating. We are still here. That ye may know that I am the Lord that doth sanctify you. Now let's keep reading. Verse 14. Ye shall keep the Sabbath therefore, for it is holy unto you. Every one that defileth it shall surely be put to death. For whosoever doeth any work therein, that soul shall be cut off from among his people. Verse 15. 6 days may work be done, but in the seventh is the Shabbat of rest, holy to the Lord. Whosoever doeth any work in this Sabbath day, he shall surely be put to death. Wherefore the children of Israel shall keep the Shabbat, to observe the Shabbat throughout their generations for a perpetual covenant. In it is, Salakia, verse 17, it is a sign between me and the children of Israel forever. For in 6 days the Lord made heaven and earth, and the seventh day he rested and was refreshed. So it is very important. This is something that we cannot skip over. It is a covenant. It is an agreement between the Most High God Yahweh and the children of Israel. So this must be kept. Beautiful. So, Salakia Israel. We can now jump up a chapter again. We're still in Exodus and we want chapter 35 and verse 1. I'll go from 1 to 3. So that's Exodus chapter 35 and we want verse 1 and I'll read through to verse 3. And Moses gathered all the congregation of the children of Israel together and said unto them, These are the words which the Lord has commanded, that ye should do them. 6 days shall work be done, but on the seventh days there shall be to you a holy day, a Sabbath of rest to the Lord. Whosoever doeth work therein shall be put to death. Verse 3. Ye shall kindle no fire throughout your inhabitation, or your habitation, upon the Shabbat day, which I made reference to earlier in regards to kindling fire, cooking. So again, you may want food to eat on the Shabbat, obviously. Perhaps what you prefer to eat is something that requires cooking. Do it beforehand. That's what it was saying. Just do it beforehand. Prepare, so you don't have to transgress the law of the Most High God. So now we are going to leave Exodus and we're going to go into the book of Nehemiah, and we want chapter 13 in Nehemiah. So that's Nehemiah chapter 13. And we want verse 15 through to verse 21. In those days saw I in Judah some treading wine presses on the Sabbath, and bringing in sheaves and laden asses, as also wine, grapes, and figs, and all manner of burdens which they brought into Jerusalem on the Shabbat day. And I testified against them in the day wherein they sold victuals. Again, this is something that they cannot do on the Shabbat. They're basically working and buying and selling on the Shabbat. So the prophet Nehemiah had to rebuke them, basically. That is what it is going into. So we keep going. Verse 16. There dwelt men of Tyre also therein, which brought fish and all manners of ware, and sold and on the Sabbath unto the children of in Jerusalem, in Judah and in Jerusalem. So it's basically saying Tyre, that's an African tribe. sort of thing. So here you had Hamitic people coming into Jerusalem on the Shabbat day and selling to the children of Judah. And they're buying. So they're breaking the Shabbat day. Again, no buying, no selling. So I'll read that again. Verse 16. There dwelt men of Tyre also therein, which brought fish and all manner of ware, and sold on the Sabbath unto the children of Judah and in Jerusalem. Then I contended with the noble of Judah, and said unto them, What evil thing is this that ye do, and profane the Shabbat day? Because it is evil. Verse 18. Did not your fathers thus, and did not our God bring all this evil upon us and upon this city? Yet ye bring more wrath upon Israel by profaning the Shabbat. The prophet is basically going into history with them. When we violate the laws of God, we get punished by God in the form of being overtaken by our enemies. That is what it is going into. So the prophet is bringing to their memory, don't you know that to do these things, to do this evil will cause evil to come upon us? Verse 19. And it came to pass that when the gates of Jerusalem began to be dark before the Sabbath, I commanded that the gates should be shut, and charged that they should not be opened till after the Sabbath. And some of my servants set I at the gates, that there should no burden be brought in on the Shabbat day. Burden is, you have is work. It's something you have to do, right? It's a task. So the merchants and sellers of all kinds of ware lodges without Jerusalem once or twice. Verse 21. Then I testified against them and said unto them, Why lodge ye about the wall? If ye do so again, I will lay hands on you. From that time forth came they no more on the Shabbat. So you see, Nehemiah had to get dark upon people so that they would overstand the folly of their actions. The Shabbat is holy. It's a holy unto the children of Israel, as a sign from the Most High God unto them. So we'll go from Nehemiah and we'll go to Numbers chapter 15. So from Nehemiah we go to Numbers chapter 15 and verse 32 through to 36. And while the children of Israel were in the wilderness, they found a man that gathered sticks upon the Sabbath day. And they that found him gathering sticks brought him in unto Moses and Aaron and unto all the congregation. And they put him in a ward, because it was not declared that what should be done unto him. Again, remember now, this is the Shabbat day. The man is breaching the Shabbat day. Verse 35. And the Lord said unto Moses, The man shall be surely put to death. All the congregation shall stone him with stones without the camp. So take him go one side and go stone him. And all the congregation brought him without the camp, stone him with stones, and he died, as Yahweh commanded Moses. Do not trivialize the recognition, the doing, keeping of the Shabbat. Do not do that. So from there we want Jeremiah chapter 17. So Jeremiah chapter 17 and verse 21. Yes, verse 21 to 22. Thus saith the Lord, Take heed to yourselves and bear no burden on the Sabbath day, nor bring it in by gates of Jerusalem. Verse 22. Neither carry forth a burden out of your houses on the Sabbath day, neither do ye any work, but allow ye the Shabbat day as I commanded your fathers. So the Shabbat day belongs to the Most High God. Whatever you're doing on the day, it is for the Most High. It's literally not you just doing what you want to do. On that day, it's all about the Most High God. And the Most High God, Yahweh. So now let's go over to John to find a comparative scripture to this and see if we can find this happening anywhere. I'll read it one more time just to make sure we've got it, and then I move on to John. So Jeremiah chapter 17, verse 21 to 22. Thus saith the Lord, take heed to yourselves, and bear no burden on the Sabbath day, nor bring it in by the gates of Jerusalem. Neither carry forth a burden out of the house and of Shabbat, and on the Shabbat day. Neither do you any work, but allow ye the Shabbat day as I command your fathers. So you see, without a certain understanding, you may think you cannot do anything on the Shabbat except to just be sat in a corner paying reverence to the Most High. Let's clarify that a little bit. So let's go to John chapter 5 and 9. So John chapter 5, verse 9 through to 10. And immediately the man was made whole, and took up his bed, and walked. And on the same day was the Shabbat. The Jews therefore said unto him that was cured, it is the Shabbat day. It is not lawful for thee to carry thy bed. The bed would be in reference to a burden, because it takes a certain amount of effort to carry a bed. So it's referring back into what we just read in Jeremiah, where it says no burdens. You shouldn't carry no burdens. So they're taking that totally literal. Okay? Now watch what happens when we go and have a look at verse 14 and verse 18. We're still in John chapter 9. I'll read from verse 9 to 10 again. Then I'll drop down a few verses. So, John chapter 5 and 9. And immediately the man was made whole, and took up his bed and walked. And on the same day was the Shabbat. The Jews therefore said unto him that was cured, it is the Sabbath day. It is not lawful for thee to carry thy bed. So we jump down to verse 14. Afterward, Yahushua findeth him in the temple, and said unto him, Behold, thou art made whole. Sin no more, lest worse things come upon thee. Verifying what I said earlier on, what the prophet Nehemiah was saying. Do we not already know what happens when we break the laws of the Most High? Don't we know what happens already? We get chastised. We get taken over. Christ is saying the very same thing right here to this gentleman, telling him not to sin no more, or worse may come upon him. So here it is, Christ teaching, preaching to keep the commandments. But let's go further. We'll start again. I'll read that one again. Verse 14. Afterward, Yahushua findeth him in the temple, and said unto him, Behold, thou art made whole. Sin no more, lest worse things come upon you. Verse 15. The man departed and told the Jews that it was Yahushua which had made him whole. And therefore did the Jews persecute Yahushua and sought to slay him, because he had done these things on the Shabbat day. They're saying Christ is working on the Shabbat day. That's what they're getting into. Verse 17. But Yahushua answered them, My Father worketh hitherto, and I work. Therefore the Jews sought the more to kill him, because he not only had broken the Sabbath, but said also that God was his Father, making himself equal with God. Then answered Yahushua and said unto them, Verily, verily, surely, surely, I say unto you, the Son cannot, the Son can do nothing of himself, but what he seeth the Father do. For what things soever he doeth, these also doeth the Son likewise. I'll read that again, because that's a total tongue twister going on there. So that's verse 19. Then answered Yahushua and said unto them, Verily, verily, I say unto you, the Son can do nothing of himself, but what he seeth the Father do. For what things soever he doeth, these also doeth just like the Son likewise. So that's beautiful. So Christ is not doing anything against the Father's will. So it is a lack of understanding on the Jews' part at this point. Let's just say that in regards to this man carrying his bed. So we go further. Actually, that's all right. I'll jump further down to verse 45. We're still in John 5 and 9, so we're going right down now to 45. So we want verse 45, and I'll go through to verse 47. Do not think that I will accuse you to the Father. There is one that accuseth you, even Moses, in whom ye trust. Verse 46. Had ye believed Moses, ye would have believed me, for he wrote of me. But if ye believe not his writings, how shall you believe my words? You see, they did not understand that Yahushua was actually magnifying the law. Yahushua was actually magnifying the law. Now, can we find examples of this? Who did Christ teach? The apostles, okay. He had his disciples around him, so they learned from him. So let's see if he did any of what I just said. So from there, we go to Matthew chapter 12 and 12. Matthew chapter 12 and 12. How much then is a man better than a sheep? Wherefore, it is lawful to do well on the Shabbat day. Bear that in mind, Yasharahla. I'll read it again. How much then is a man better than a sheep? Wherefore, it is lawful to do well on the Shabbat day. Bear in mind, we are speaking about if the magnification took place, and we're now in the book of the apostles, and here is Christ. Christ is speaking here. So we'll go from there to tie off a bit more. So we want Matthew chapter 3 and 4. Salakia Israel. Mark chapter 3 and 4. So Mark chapter 3 and 4. And let's go again. Yes. And he saith unto them, is it lawful to do good on the Shabbat day, or to do evil? To save life, or to kill? But they held their peace. You see, they couldn't answer these questions. Because what is doing good and what is doing evil? Is doing evil healing someone? You see, they needed the law to be magnified. This is another reason why the Pharisees, scribes, Sadducees, so many of them had a problem. And they never knew how to keep the law. They did not know what they were doing. However, they were masters of the law because they were the ones who sat in Moses' seat. But it is for certain things are there that they didn't fully understand. Clarification were needed on certain things, and this is what Yahushua came and do. He came and magnified these things, made a lot of things a lot more clearer, you see. So we'll go from there. Yeah, we leave there and we go to Isaiah chapter 56 and 2. So Isaiah chapter 56 and verse 2. Blessed is the man that doeth this, and the Son of Man that layeth hold on it, that keepeth the Shabbat from polluting it, and keepeth his hands from doing any evil. You see, again, like I was saying, it is all about clarification. I'll read that one more time just for the edification's sake. Blessed is the man that doeth this, and the Son of Man that layeth hold on it, that keepeth the Shabbat from polluting it, and keepeth his hands from doing evil. For you're committing no sin, because that is considered evil. We'll go down to chapter 58. We were in Isaiah, so let's go up a little bit, 2 chapters up to chapter 58 and read verse 13. And 58 and 13 reads, If thou turn away thy foot from the Shabbat, from doing thy pleasure on my holy day, and call the Shabbat a delight, the holy of the Lord honorable, and shalt honor him, not doing thine own ways, nor finding thine own pleasure, nor speaking thine own words. Beautifully said. Beautifully said. Verse 14, Then shall thou delight thyself in Yahweh, and I will cause thee to ride upon the high places of the earth, and feed thee with the heritage of Jacob thy father. For the mouth of Yahweh has spoken it. So I will leave it there, Yasharahla, because that is beautifully said through all those scriptures in regards to the Shabbat, and just showing the importance of it and why we must acknowledge and reverence it throughout our generations. And yeah, we're still here, so we're generating, we're still getting kids, and then kids getting kids. So yeah, we're still here, Yasharahla. So with that, Yasharahla, I bid you, Yasharahla, my family, farewell until next time. Shalawam.